dating and all that. And then in the Philippines, it's like on steroids. What we're used to back home, it's like, God, there's so much going on here with dating. First of all, the culture of dating and relationships here is unlike anything you've ever experienced. For example, if you meet someone new, it could be anyone, it could be a Filipino or a Filipina, you could be in a taxi, you could be getting your hair cut, and if they see a guy, a foreigner, walking down the street, and then you have a conversation, one of the first things they ask you is, where's your wife? Where's your girlfriend? Are you married? Why are you married? Why are you single? It's like, it takes over the conversation. The first thing is, where are you from? Like, it's all friendly and it's all good vibe.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's Wang, and today I am with my friend Chad.
What's up, Wang? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And yes, I'm here today to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Since
Bring
you
it
are
on.
here in the Philippines, how long have you been here?
Almost 2.5 years.
How are you anyway?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, really.
So, I'm going to ask you a question about
Sure.
how long it takes you to adjust here in the Philippines in terms of the weather, the people, and the Filipino culture.
The weather, no issue. I was living in Florida, so very similar. Yeah, that'll be a big thing for some guys, for sure. You know, it can be hot here, it can be humid at times, but for me, that was not an issue. The people are great here, so not a big adjustment period for that. That's one of the easy. I think the people make the adjustment easier compared to like other countries because, well, it's English speaking, welcoming, friendly, safe, all of that. So that wasn't an issue. Culturally, there's just some little things, I think. Most people will talk about the differences being the efficiency of things, where things take longer, or they're just done differently here. Like, things are done much differently here for the day-to-day stuff. Like, it might make you scratch your head at times, but because the vibe here is so good, because it's just people are happy and friendly, what I've learned about that is how important patience is, and because the vibe is good, it sort of gives you a little bit of buffer room, so you can handle things that you might find to be frustrating, but because the lifestyle here is so laid back, and there's all these other benefits, you're at a level of, your stress level is so low from that you can handle those differences pretty easily. But I'm not gonna lie, like I don't want to sugarcoat it. There's definitely periods. I've gone through it. It kind of comes in waves sometimes, small waves. But I've seen other people have moments of frustration here. It's like everyone goes through a little tiny period where it blows up. And I don't mean blow up like have a freak out, but they just get fed up or tired of things. It's just because there is an adjustment, and there are things that are just totally different here. But most people adapt to it pretty well. As far as giving it a time frame, I'd say within the first few months, you're just on a high. Like if you're coming here and staying here, if you're on a vacation, you're not going to notice this so much. You're just having a good time. But that honeymoon phase of, let's just call it 6 months, where, and for me, I was traveling, everything was new and exciting. You just ignore all that stuff. When you get past that, you get closer to well, maybe I felt it at about 9 months.
9 months.
Was where I started to notice some things. It didn't bother me up until then. I noticed some things that I guess they were a bit frustrating. That you're like, oh, I miss this or whatever about the West. But then I went back to the West and I spent time with my family and I went back to Florida and I settled in. I had a really nice setup there. I guess I still do, but it's rented out. But I was like, this is amazing. I miss this so much. I have access to all this. Order Amazon, it shows up in the morning or the same day. I had all my nice things. Everything happens and it seems to be very efficient. But after a few weeks of that, it kind of wears off, and I just miss the Philippines. And I miss all of the good things. So many good things about the Philippines.
Speaking of good things.
Yeah.
What you've learned about Filipino women. And different type of Filipino women you've met. Of course, you've been here for 2 years. Yeah,
I've learned
going
it.
back and forth.
And I feel like I'm still learning. And there's so many little nuance of things.
Let's talk
It's
about
so
it.
different. All right. I'm happy to talk about it. I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I find it fascinating.
Really?
I think it's a fascinating subject, relationships
Yes.
and dating and all that. And then in the Philippines, it's like on steroids. What we're used to back home, it's like, God, there's so much going on here with dating. First of all,
Yeah.
the culture of dating and relationships here is unlike anything you've ever experienced. For example, if you meet someone new, it could be anyone. It could be a Filipino or a Filipina. You could be in a taxi. You could be getting your hair cut. And if they see a guy, a foreigner, walking down the street, and then you have a conversation, one of the first things they ask you is, "Where's your wife? Where's your girlfriend?
Oh.
Are you married? Why are you married? Why are you single?" It's like,
Yeah.
it takes over the conversation. The first thing is, where are you from? Like, it's all friendly and it's all good vibe, but there's a huge focus on
Yeah.
relationships here. Foreigners and Filipinas, it's this
Yeah.
huge thing. And so, yeah, so it's definitely a big part of the culture and the
Yeah.
experience here. You're gonna notice it right away.
If you're a foreigner that you are
Yeah.
here, they're expecting you to have a girlfriend or to have a family in here, to have a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to be single here when you're a foreigner.
It
Something
is.
like
It's
that.
weird. There's an expectation. And
Yeah.
with
Are
that
you
said,
pressured sometimes to be in a relationship?
maybe. I mean, no. Just to be honest, it's not like you think. It's not like I can't sleep at night or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's an impact because of that. But here's the catch. It's like there's a lot of dating to be had here. There's a lot of potential relationships here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of desire here to be with a foreigner. But not all of it is good intentions. Not all of it is what you think you want. You might realize it's not what you want. So you walk into this world of opportunity, but then you start to realize, man, a lot of these opportunities are not maybe what I want. Or maybe you get distracted and you go down the wrong path and you start dating someone and you're like, no, this is not really what I'm looking for. And that alone is like a huge conversation about knowing what you want before you come here, because you're going to walk into the paradox of choice, where it's like you have so many perceived options, and guys run into this all the time, and then they get lost in that, and they're not even sure really what they're looking for. Like, what is going to be sustainable?
Yeah. So what are the different types of Filipino you met? Like, it will be good, bad, just different type of behavior.
Well, I'll elaborate to make sense of this for you guys. Like, when I first came here, the whole thought of like dating a province Filipino, like that's what I was focused on, because I'm like, I'm gonna go all the way to the Philippines, and I think it'd be cool to meet something totally different than what the opportunities are like in the U.S. where I was living. And so I met a girl in Bohol, like in the province of Bohol, and early on, didn't have a clue. Like, I didn't know what the province was. I didn't know what a trike was. I didn't, like a sorry, like what is all this? Like, everything was different. And seeing the level of poverty and all of that. So I hop on a ferry, I go to this remote area of Bohol, and I meet this person, I meet her sister, and I made a video about it. And it was a great experience, but I realized, like some of the challenges of starting a relationship with someone that's culturally so different, and like communication alone. I mean, there was barely any conversation. Well, I think a lot of it was language. So limited depth of conversation, and me not understanding the cultural differences and not understanding any of it. The significance of family, what it meant to her, like me being there, where I was there to meet someone for the first time and get to know her and check out the compatibility.
That was hard.
Yeah, like if you do that, there's a good chance she is thinking this is it, this is everything. We're getting married. Like, they're already 20 steps ahead of you. And the other thing is, I'm not afraid to mention this, it was out there in the video. This girl was 20 years old, right? So a lot of guys come here. That's an opportunity. And you can date college girls who are beautiful, and you can go meet them in the province. And guys do it all the time. And most guys start with that, because they're like, oh wow, I have all these new opportunities. But then I realized quickly the compatibility, it can work for some, and it's case by case, right, with the girl. But in this case, there was a huge gap in compatibility. Like, not only did she not communicate, like, I shouldn't say, she would make like TikTok videos to send me a message of how upset she was. Like, this was her way of communicating, was through a TikTok video.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Well, it's
But of
normal.
course, it's normal.
And she's not alone. It's a lot of things in here. Like, you know, especially younger women, younger girls, like, you know, they gonna put it in social media, the frustration, and they can't tell it directly to you.
What do you expect? If you're gonna date a 20-year-old, you might deal with a TikTok video that shows how upset she is, and then the next video she's all happy and sexy dancing, and then she's upset again. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? And it's a little bit of everything. So it's age gap, it's language barrier, it's all that. So right away I'm like, okay, I need someone that's a little older, someone that I can have a conversation with, and there's other examples of experiences.
With older women.
But I've learned through that too. Like, if you date, I dated a girl who was 40, and a lot of life experience, and English was really, really good. But I learned through that experience about tampo and jealousy and these things that became very toxic and challenging. And it wasn't an age thing. It was just, she described it as cultural and how, you know, we're all like this and yada yada. But it was, I had no idea what was going on half the time. It was like silent treatment. Oh, she's not responding for a while. I have no idea why. And then, I'm sorry, I know I overreacted. But it was challenging. So I realized,
it's
that's cultural.
Something like that.
That level of it, But then it was described to me as common and normal, and you have to be okay with it.
It's hard to explain, like, you know, what you're going through, and you're gonna need a time. I mean, tampo is like, you know, it's a good thing and a bad thing, you know, because instead of saying some bad words to you,
no blow up.
Like, you know, it's just gonna wait, organize your thoughts and the feelings, and calm down before talking to you. But in the other end, for you, it's kind of stressful and, you know, exhausted, because you don't know what's going on and you don't know what to do. You can't even solve the problem or fix it.
And in this case, some of this we were in person and long distance, and if it happens, like when it's long distance, and a lot of guys deal with this. I have a buddy in the US that's going through that right now. He never knows what the heck's going on. She's mad at him, 3 days, you know, no reply. It's so confusing, especially if you're not there. Well, as foreigners, we're used to like direct communication. It's like, there's an issue, let's talk about it, let's figure it out, and we'll move on, where it's not always the case here. And it's not always an age thing. That's why I wanted to mention that.
Yes, long distance relationship. What is your standard long distance relationship?
Not for me.
Can't. That's gonna be so extra. You have to do extra and everything.
I see enough couples that succeed with that, where they were long distance for years, and then now they're finally together, and it seems to be amazing. And those 4 years made them grow stronger and committed to each other. So if you can hang on, some people have no choice, and they can't come over here or whatever. But you know, me being here in the Philippines, that doesn't really work for me.
Okay, so in general, what is your advice to the men, like, you know, foreigners that want to visit in the Philippines and looking for their partner? The best step they can do to, you know, have a chance a big chance to be successful in
dating.
In dating, looking and in life here in the Philippines, like, you know.
Well, this gives me an opportunity to say some positive things, because I gave you 2 negative examples about dating. I mean, I've been here for 2.5 years, and I'm not in a serious relationship, but I'm different than some guys. Like, some guys come here very motivated to meet someone, settle down, get married, have kids. If you're the guy that you're 100% ready for that, that's music to a Filipina's ears. Like, marriage and kids, that's what they want, and a good guy on top of that. And sometimes they'll overlook a good guy thing, because marriage and kids is just so huge here. And you see these odd couples,
Yeah.
but they
There's-
give this Filipina what they really want, which is
Yeah, it's a big deal.
marriage and kids, stability and kids, and financial security. I think every woman wants that. But so, if you're that guy, you're going to be way more successful. But more so if you take your time and not rush into it, and know
Yes.
that you are the prize. If you're that guy,
Yeah.
take your time, understand a little bit of these cultural differences before you jump into something. Be careful with the temptation, and like I mentioned, dating a younger, I'm not saying don't date a younger person, but just be, like, really know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And some of the challenges that you might not really want to deal with or have patience for. Yeah, it's really just go slow, know what you want, and stay on that path. The distraction possibilities here are crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things. So the other thing, yeah, I mentioned kids. Like if you're not sure about kids, this is a huge thing. And for me, like it's something that I'm not just looking for that. This is not something that I'm sort of undecided on. And that's a big thing. So Filipinas either want kids or they have kids. And very few fall into the category of don't want kids or undecided.
Yes.
And I don't want to lie about it.
Yeah.
So this will create an initial challenge with
Yes.
finding someone, because most guys want a younger girl, but then if they don't have kids, they want kids. But a lot of these guys that come here aren't looking to have kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
date, but they don't go anywhere because
Yes,
they're
yeah.
not going in the direction that most Filipinos want.
Yeah.
But are you willing to take on young kids? Not every guy is. Or are you willing to take on an older Filipina that has kids that have grown up? Find a wonderful Filipina, but a lot of guys are just looking for a younger.
Yeah,
And
you
so
gotta
this
find-
creates a really big challenge. Last thing I want to say that I've run into, which is part of my own learning, is I've been drawn to Filipinas that are educated, that are working, that are responsible, that I can banter a little bit with or connect with.
Yes.
After experiencing someone that it was hard to communicate with, I realized I need someone older, but also that I can just converse with a little more, you know?
Yeah.
The challenge with meeting someone who's working full time,
Yeah.
the level of like commitment to the job here is unlike what we're used to back home. There's no just like, hey, let's meet for happy hour.
Yeah.
Both people get off work at 5, hop in their car, and meet somewhere for a beer. It doesn't happen here. So Filipinas have to commute a long ways.
Yeah.
It's tiring. They work 6 days a week. They're committed to other things. They're so focused on that. They don't have time or energy often if you're meeting someone that works full time. Whether it be a serious job or a simple job, they're still very
Yes.
committed. So you need to be so patient and,
Yeah,
and be in a position where you can get to know them
Yeah.
slowly before the opportunity comes up to where you can really spend more time with them. And most guys that come here have
Yeah.
time and flexibility, and we want to date, and we want to meet
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
It's a little bit impatient when it comes to
Yeah.
the Filipinas here and what they're looking for. So a lot of guys end up going with girls that they're not doing anything. And they're like, all right, they're looking for you. They're on all the dating apps. They don't have anything going on, and they'll just hop in the back of your motorbike and take off for you.
Yeah.
And they just finished another relationship with another guy. But
Okay, Chad, this is the last question, I promise.
Okay.
As a man, how do you love to be treated from your girlfriend or the person you are in a relationship?
well, like honesty and creating an environment of like trust. I know that's cliche. Everyone will say that, but I feel like there's just little lies and little things. It sets doubt early on. So when you feel like someone is just so transparent with you, I love that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to be with my partner too. And honestly, I'm sensitive to that. So when things happen early on, when there's just little lies or just little BS here and there, it's just hard to stay interested. So someone that's really honest, I really feel, good about that.
Yeah.
Girls that, and it's not hard to find this here, but girls that are very focused on you, they want to,
Too much focus on you.
sometimes it's a lot.
Too
It's
much.
like clingy, and so it can be very physical and affectionate. Most guys like that. I like that too. I mean, I guess to some degree, as long as there's like room to breathe.
Yeah.
But I think that it's one of the reasons why a lot of guys like Filipinas. You feel cared for, little things. you know, if a Filipino wants to make your belly happy and cook you a meal, let's just say you want to treat her well and show her great opportunities and do things with her. A Filipina that can anticipate things, anticipate your needs, take care of you, little things like that, which are not uncommon here. You know, pop out of bed, make you coffee, make you food. I mean, these are simple things that make guys happy, where they just show they're thinking about you and they're not coming from a selfish place, assuming you're taking care of her too. That's how I think a relationship really works, where you're anticipating each other, you know each other, and you can kind of do little things, you know, to make each other feel good.
Yes. Okay, I hope you're gonna find it soon, Chad. Again, thank you for today. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
My pleasure to be sitting here talking. It's a good conversation.
My pleasure,
Thank you.
always.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, thanks guys.
And again, guys, that's all.